the shit. Must be like I shine the shit. Must be like I shine the shit. Historic FM.
That was music from SKND with Dando with MZ, and he was in Sizwa. As Wanga has told me that I've rightfully pronounced. I was really freaking out about that one. But as I did say, I was going to have a special guest in the program, guys. I am like geeking out right now. So big, so huge. Oh my goodness, hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm absolutely well.
Yeah.
I feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a place. You guys, if you haven't been to the studio, make your way here.
They should run here. But yeah,
it's
guys.
such a pleasant space. No, I'm absolutely well. And how are you?
I am just having a better day now that you walked in.
Well, thank you.
When you breezed in, you
Yes.
know, cologne and everything, I'm like, oh, yeah. Let's get it.
It's gonna mean so many. It's gonna mean so much trouble.
That's
the way
it.
I smell.
That's it.
You can't run from anyone.
I can't run from anyone. Like, nah, he was here.
He was here.
He was here. I went to my nail tech for my pedicure, and she says the one day I think I went, and she goes, so she was very quiet.
Yeah.
I never understood why. So I came back the second time, and then she's like, "You've changed cologne."
Ooh. Wow.
I'm like, wow.
Wow.
She's like, yeah, no, because when you left, like, you know, when you usually leave, the chair's like smelling like you for like weeks.
No, but like, you really, people have to smell you from the next room.
Yeah.
It's like a prerequisite.
Wow.
You know?
I need to figure out now. I just need to be getting silent and leave silent.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, I don't know if you can tell from the voice. This is the son of the soil, probably the biggest artist we have in the country when it comes to music, style, just even like...
What an intro.
Yeah.
You talking about me or someone?
Yeah. You.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Son of the soil, Tay Grin, the young kid.
Yeah. Pew, 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 pew.
He's here, guys. It was very, I think we're all collectively surprised here because I wasn't expecting you today, and then I just got a call like, oh, you're about to have the biggest celebrity in Malawi.
I'm in your way.
I'm like, yeah, because why not? And I'm super glad. super glad that
things
you
work out in great ways. No,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So like, obviously, how's it going?
Absolutely well.
Yeah.
I've released my new single, Chalo Sing.
Oh,
It's doing what it needs to do.
you look stunning.
Thank you.
In there.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm getting shouted compliments. Just stop blushing.
But like, I guess for a lot of people that love to know, like, what was the inspiration behind it, and like, what was the story that you're trying to tell with Chalice specifically?
I think with that particular song, it's just taking people back to who we are.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's been instances where we've all had those beautiful moments with our families where we tell stories, storytelling.
Yeah.
But also just music that resonates with our childhood.
Yeah.
So when that song, when that opportunity was presented for me and Masco to do a song, I mean, Masco is such a golden voice and
Very much.
legendary. Someone that's been doing absolutely wonderful, musically in our industry for a long time, but hasn't released anything.
Yeah, for quite some time.
So when he was in Malawi, I said, "Look, guy, let's do something." So in our conversation, we all touched upon one thing, which is, I think, the importance of us embracing our culture and not veering off. There's a tendency now, if you go on TikTok or on Instagram, people, you want to be someone else.
Yeah, we wanted to go mainstream
Aye.
with the West.
But we are mainstream.
Yeah.
That's what you must realize. That your culture, who you are, where you come from, is mainstream. Because when you go to the US, they'll ask you those questions. Who are you? Where do you come from? What's your culture? Share some of your music, some of your stories. So if you don't know, you become, an alien, right? Because you can't replicate what they do.
That is true.
You're trying to look like us. Well, that sounds nice, but where you from? So if you're failing to answer that question as a Malawian, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
But also then we'll become a society that doesn't have an identity. If you look at countries like, for instance, South Africa, they have created so many genres of music. Amapiano, they had Kwaito, and the rest of the world vibe to their culture,
Sounds,
their sound, the way they dance, the way they dress, the way they look. why can't we as Malawians also start making our own music, our own way of dancing, our own way of dressing, our own way of expressing, so that the rest of the world can say, woo, I want to be Malawi.
I want to be Malawi.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
So that's where the birth of, that particular song came from.
Okay.
And we just had fun with the video, colorful, stylish. Had Bucci come up with
He was responsible for creative direction. Yeah.
He did what needed to be done.
You know what I mean? And for me, that's what's beautiful about this project, because so many people came together. So many creatives, not only on the fashion side, but even on the video side.
The video side.
We had people like KBG, Sukez, Sean. So many of them come together just to create one project, which is very, for me phenomenal. Pierre, obviously, with the grading, his work is absolutely
brilliant.
Stunning, So it's a beautiful piece that was put together by very talented Malawians, and even the song itself, the recording. We had live sessions with different artists from Atlanta.
Okay.
The guitars live, the bass is live. You got the Nyao drums, box guitars in there. So it's something worth listening to on your headphones.
Yeah.
Because then you get to hear
everything gets together. Yeah. I love how you've touched base on each and every aspect of the video. Just the song itself, not the video specifically.
Yeah.
The work, the people involved, and how you came about, like with this song specifically, tapping into culture, trying to celebrate culture, trying to celebrate identity, which is something that we're still, I think, trying to get around as artists, as a creative industry, just putting ourselves out there and being authentically Malawian. So maybe could you give us a little bit more about just how long you worked up to this? Was it like an impromptu thing?
We recorded it when he came here. But we had like 4 full day sessions in the studio.
Okay.
We started at 8 a.m. and would normally round up around 12 midnight.
Okay.
And so it's 4 straight days.
Wow.
And that was just to make sure that sonically everything is done right. We record everything live. Everybody had to come in, obviously, with scheduling.
Yeah.
And then the process to mix that took forever. So much. Like if you listen to the first track, I think we've got like 16 versions
of this song. You're joking.
Yeah, because I'm like that as well. I'm just a bit.
Yeah, so maybe are we getting a taste of those other versions, or are you just in the vaults?
You just get the one that I like.
I
don't hear anything else.
I think we would have loved to if we got the other versions, but you can keep those ones in the vault for now.
Obviously, I mean, but okay, for me, when I make music, I build it up. So it's literally from nothing, and then just trying to find sonically something that everyone can sort of listen to, relate to. And like for me, when I hear this song, it just makes me happy. Like whatever mood I'm in, it just sparks up and makes me happy. So I hope that's what it does for other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I released it, because I felt like also as a country, we're going through so much.
Exactly.
And I felt like, a song that just addresses that, to say, even though we're going through problems, even though you might be experiencing
still have
stuff,
a bit of fun.
Yeah. Don't neglect yourself. Enjoy a bit. Take yourself away from your problems and whatever you're going through, and just celebrate, that you're alive, that you're here, you're well, and that you have people around you that care and love you. So there's a lot more to it, but
I think we're
along those lines.
We're going to go with that philosophy. It's a feel-good song.
Yes.
Just let's be happy.
Be happy.
We're going through things. I'm going through things.
Everybody.
But I think this song for us should represent the happiness. It should be like a happiness anthem of sorts. So because we've talked extensively about the song, let's play it for the people.
Most definitely.
Most definitely. We'll be right back to continue with the program.
I have so much to say. Everything is, I'm like, I want to say stuff.
What are you going to say?
Because there's no mic near me. Turn on the aircon.
Oh yeah, please. I got a leather jacket on, but
I'm also overheating in this corner.
Hooray. There's that one there.
What, the mic here?
Yeah. But I
don't trust this chair. Is this chair fine?
Oh, and then if you move away from there?
Is this chair fine? Is this chair fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Let's just find
Come
one.
in,
Because
Jordan.
this one is not thinking right now.
Huh?
Okay.
Ask your question, get in there.
Because I'm waiting chatting to be there, guys. I'm like, oh really? That was a no process. Oh my gosh. You've met our station manager, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You know, he's apparently a bow champion.
Okay.
He's not. Yes.
I am the bow champion.
But he has the biggest mouth. And he's always like, you know,
Do you win like properly or are you?
no, she's actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we should play sometime.
Yeah, we should.
So he claims, every time you're playing against him, he goes, I want to now we never bow in there. And then still lose.
Right.
So that line just made me think of it. I'm sure Anandisa, he didn't get that.
And it's like those are just, it's so rooted into just our culture, like,
Yeah.
you know, just who we are, what we're going through, you know.
And it's nice how relatable certain things. Like, you listen to music about other people and their countries and the things that are their everyday life, and you're like, oh, that must be nice.
Yeah.
But when you listen to a song that refers to things that are very Malawi, you're like, I know that.
Yeah, like I've done
personal.
that. Yeah.
You're not a bow champion.
It's such a soothing song.
It is. So like, have you always known that you wanted to do like traditional-esque music from the get-go?
I think, I'd say yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how I started my music, like,
Yeah.
from my first video.
Yeah.
And it came from just like being in that space.
Yeah.
But every time the drum came, I like, because wherever I was, when anyone try to fling the drum, everyone's ears just pumped up and they just, like zombies, go to the drum. And I thought to myself, like a little,
I could work with
little
that.
side of the if I put that in my music, would the effect be the same?
Do you play the drum?
No.
That was Tay Grin and Masco with Chalo C. And luckily for us, we have the champ himself in here, giving us the backstory behind the song and all the good stuff. So we had talked about the inspiration behind it and how he wants it to be like a feel-good anthem, just to get people happy, gets people excited about life in general, because yeah, there have been things that have happened, you know, previous months. The timeline has been, it's been a lot.
It's been hectic.
It's been, yeah.
It's been hectic.
And
As
so,
a nation, but also I think as individuals.
Yeah.
You know, just everyone's going through stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of see it sometimes when you speak to people. You know,
Yeah.
the joy is off their face.
yeah.
You know, I'm spiritual, so when I see someone, I go beyond what they're telling me.
Yeah.
If I ask you how are you, I look like at your expressions, because your expressions will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just we're going through it a lot, and I think we just need to take time and reflect as
And
people,
reflect and-
and energize,
Yeah.
re-energize.
Mm.
You know?
Love that you mentioned spirituality in your music, as in your personality, not in your music. So maybe my question would be, do you draw inspiration from, your faith and you being a spiritual individual, and then do you transmit that in your music as well? Would you hope
I
that
do.
is a spiritual experience
I
when you
do,
listen to your
but I
music?
think also spiritualism is just being genuine and just being in touch with with everything around you, right? Being cautious, and taking the time to appreciate things. I think a lot of us, we don't do that. We don't appreciate nature.
Yeah.
We wake up and we're quickly running for work, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
you go to work and you're in work and you go back home and you sleep. But just take time. Like I have these routines I do every morning when I wake up. I internally exercise.
Okay.
So it means I found exercises for every organ on my body,
Okay.
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I exercise my brain, my eyes,
Your heart.
my heart, my lungs, my liver, everything.
That's
Right?
interesting.
And and this is like the journey that I've sort of gone on to now, right? So I take minutes to do that. Then I do my outdoor exercises, which are now my muscles outside, whatever it is, cardio, and etc. etc.
Yeah.
But that process alone, and just spending that time, and I do this in the garden, is just so soothing and energizing that by the time I'm leaving, I feel so fresh. So there are all these things that I think people need to just take time and do. You know, yes, as human beings we need to work, but I feel like if you're in a better condition, you can work better, right?
That is true.
So just like you do with your vehicles, you service them. Human bodies also need to have that kind of care.
Yeah.
You know? So those are the kind of things.
Very true, very true. So you being the Nyao King and then also tapping into your spirituality, I think we could draw on that and maybe ask, is it, you know, how has it been making traditional-esque music by far and like being the face of that? Because we celebrate you taking Malawi to the globe in that aspect through your fashion.
Why do you say traditional kind of music?
Because I think maybe that's the most palatable version I could put out there.
Well, I call my music Nyao music.
Nyao music.
Right, but also it's just I think that we are so blessed in such a way that this country has got so many cultures that we can tap from. This Vimbuza, and I know people like Nyago. She fuses a lot of her culture. You know, you got Faith Musa, who also plays that amazing instrument. And he does, you know, that kind of fusion. So there's a lot of people who do music that is very much based Malawi based, whether it's instruments or the rhythms and so forth. What was your question? I have this moment where I'm like, where am I going with this?
Where am I going with this? But I think my question was, do you feel like maybe it's outdated?
No, I think it's current. Why? Because you'll always be Malawi. And I think that people who think tradition is outdated then end up becoming obsolete, right? You're the one that becomes outdated because you don't have a base, you don't have a foundation, you don't have an identity. I keep going back to this. So wherever you come from, right? You don't have to be Chihuahua, you don't have to be Longwe, but wherever you are, whoever you are, there's traditions, right? That define who you are as a people, things you do, the way you behave, what kind of people are you? Are you a farming kind of people? All those things, all those techniques, right, help you in your life. Because that's where you get your education from. So there's education from school, but you also have to have education from home. Which is what they teach you, your manners, the way you behave, all those things. That's what builds you, and that's what builds your character. So that even when you have education and you get a job wherever you are, if you don't have good character, you will not sustain the job. You can become famous if you don't have good character.
You won't sustain
You
it.
won't sustain that either. Right? So that's what I mean by a foundation. So when I draw inspiration, I'm drawing from how I've grown up, stories I know about, and situations I've been involved in. If I'm bringing you a story like a song like Chalosi, it means I'm just sharing a part of my journey and my culture. But how many people can relate to that? Every Malawian. Understand? That's who you are. If I bring in music that is very foreign, it might be interesting and exciting, but you can't really attach yourself to it as much as you do a song like this. You see the difference? So I feel like, no, it's not outdated. I think it's something that most people need to start doing more of because we have stories to tell.
Yeah, very much.
And did you know we have over 2,000 indigenous instruments?
Really?
Other than even the drum itself, the Nyao drum, there's so many variations of it. Others you put on the fire so that the skin is tight and the sound's different. Others have hollow parts within the drum. So there's so many different ones and they make different sounds. So there's so much we can explore, play with, and work with that the world hasn't heard yet. Wouldn't you rather be the person that introduces something new from your country to the rest of the world?
That is true.
You know? So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Okay, very profound. Very profound. Well invested as well. I think Wanga had a few questions for you.
I had questions, but he answered most of them.
Okay.
Like, as I was thinking, it's like he can read my mind. As I was thinking, you were answering, and I was like,
But I think maybe what the big question that everybody has is that is it a profitable venture for you, or just doing it for fun? Like,
how long have I been doing music?
Yeah,
20 plus years.
20 plus years.
If it wasn't profitable, who does something that's not profitable for that long? right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. I was recently in the US. Music. I'm going back in October. I have a tour. I'm starting in Algeria.
Yeah.
Then I'm in London. I have a show in LA, and
Ooh.
then awards as well.
Okay.
We're doing the Grammys again this year. After that, then I have 3 other shows, and it's going to be in Seattle, Dallas, and then Atlanta. That's all music. Doesn't that sound
and the
profitable?
fashion.
Doesn't that sound profitable?
Maybe, yeah.
I wanted to add like how people tend to look at music that's tapping into like Malawian culture in depth,
tradition,
as
yeah.
thinking that it won't make it that
won't make
far.
it far, yeah.
But when you look at it as an artist, I think you might in Malawi you're probably the artist that has gone
I'm the most
Out.
decorated
Yeah, when it
and
comes to
have-
that.
international award
Yeah.
artist. Yeah. So,
And-
and that's
and you're-
beyond that music.
exactly. You're the one that also incorporates the most tradition in your music.
Right.
And it's the music that's going out the most. And I feel like it's strange when you look at it that not a lot of Malawian artists are catching up to the idea
Right.
that if you actually are true to yourself, you keep mentioning being true to yourself and your identity. If you're making music or making art from a place of authenticity, there's more chances of you actually making it out there.
100%. No one wants to have a replica of Jay-Z or a replica of Beyonce. And even if you go and release your music in those markets, they'll always peg you somewhere in that order,
Yeah.
having that person in the front. But you won't find another Nyao King. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when you walk in that room, you already have a separate identity from whoever's in that room. And that gives you a better chance.
Yeah.
So if I hope and pray that more artists see it that way, and you don't have to replicate what I'm doing because we're not all the same, and we've all had different experiences and
Yeah.
so much different ways to share things.
Yeah.
I love how creative young artists are these days.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to watch. But my prayer is just understand that as much as you're exploring with all that nice stuff that's coming from outside, also find yourself because trends come and go, and if you're an artist on a trend, when that trend dies, so do you.
So do you.
Whereas I can come at any point in time, and it's still gonna stick.
Still
because
gonna stick.
I'm just that guy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it means that your audience craves for your sound, your music.
Yeah.
So it still gives you longevity.
Yeah.
If you go with the trend, chances are you might not come back.
Pretty much.
You know?
I think you've summed it up pretty well when it comes to authenticity and
Yeah.
drawing inspiration from culture and tradition and who you are, your identity in it. All that fun stuff you've talked about. So maybe you having mentioned on the up and coming artists that you find interesting and you love their craft. Is there any plan to collaborate moving forward? Maybe with these young ones that are on the scene.
I have so many. So with me, collaboration is not necessarily. For instance, you see in this video, you got 8 Best, Kineo.
Yeah.
We've recorded music that they're doing as well.
Okay.
I have music with Eli. He's on his EP. I did ad-libs for his
Yeah.
for his EP. I've got a song that's coming out that he's featuring on.
Okay.
So there's a lot of work that I do, that I'm doing with them, and then I think it's just the right time to release. Then you guys will get to hear it. But I think that working with them is just also beyond just creating music. It's also having those conversations that will help them, prolong their careers. I've been there for 20 years. Some of them, maybe it's a few years that they've been.
Yeah.
So I can share a couple of things that will help them, do that. So collaboration is not only just the music, but also understanding the business and helping guide and shape wherever they feel like I can come in and assist.
Okay. I love that. You taking the mentor role, like
That's what kings are for.
yeah.
living up to the name.
but also just as a reflection of people before me who did that for me, who took the time to guide me, show me the ropes. And there's this thing that I go by in life that you can't make there's no mistake you can make today that hasn't already been done.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have people in such positions who've experienced what you want to do, they can mentor you, they can help you, and it just helps shape the future generation. So I'm always available to assist in that regard.
That's what I was about to.
No, I'm always.
How do people reach you if they want to know? Like, how is it? Like,
My simple advice is this: if to reach me is a very difficult thing.
I love the self-awareness. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. But when you do have that time, and I'm there, engage. You know, I don't read minds, so I don't know what questions you might have.
Yeah.
But if I'm in your presence and you have an opportunity for us to interact, take it to answer for me. Take it as an opportunity for me to answer some of those burning questions that you might have. You know, and I guess that's how I look at it. So. Don't fear.
Don't fear.
See me come
He's
here.
approachable. Brilliant stuff. Okay, guys, that was Tay Grin giving us words of wisdom.
Yeah.
First of all, draw inspiration from your background. Draw inspiration from your roots. Make sure that you educate yourself around your culture and how you can utilize the many instruments, the many tools that have been put forward in your hands, your circle, your community, in making arts, that transcends just the mundane, but also is a representation or represents Malawi to the globe.
100%.
And then also, if you see him on the street, he's walking out, please run to him. Uncle Young King, do you have words of advice for me? He's always ready and willing to impart the knowledge. And also, Chalosi, feel good song, feel good anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're all going through things. Kumano moyo samazifinya. Yeah. Kumambanga zijazori basi, but mama su. So honestly, I've loved having you in here.
This has been amazing.
It's been a pleasure.
I've enjoyed myself,
Very much.
and I hope that the listeners have too, and that they've walked away with something of value. But all in all, look, thank you so much once again for having me here. Thank you to the listeners. Keep supporting. Tay Grin wouldn't be here, and I always say, king is not a king without his people. Right? So thank you so much, my people, for the love and support.
Yeah.
This song is out. It's for you. Download it. It's on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, go watch it. Enjoy.
Enjoy, guys. You heard it from the king himself, Nyang King. I would say what would you feel that my subjects out. It's been a pleasure. It's been a delight. I loved having him on here. Dear listener, stay locked in to Story Club FM.